Welcome to another TradeGains podcast. This morning, it is this morning, isn't it? Yeah, we are with Robert Dabner from the Workmat Co.
How you doing, right? You right?
Thank you for coming, mate. I appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
No, thanks very much. I know it's been you're not a million miles away, so you're in Kent, are you?
Yeah, not sunny Surrey, but yeah, we're in Kent.
How's the weather in Kent when you left?
Oh, it's awful, absolutely awful. Pissing down, wind, rubbish everywhere. Picking it all up off the drive before I get here.
Oh, really? The bins have fallen over.
Oh, everywhere.
Yeah. The weather's been mad recently. I was saying I was in Kent on Sunday playing in celebrity football, and it was like, as you would say, the cameraman said it was biblical weather. It's like yesterday when we were doing podcasts, like literally all you could hear was earth, wind and fire. We've obviously got the fire going now, which is a nice background
Beautiful.
sound. Yeah.
It's warming up the back.
Yeah. If it gets too hot, mate, let me know. I won't put any more logs on the fire. But to jump straight into it then, from what I've gathered from talking to you this morning and from social media, you are a tradie turned entrepreneur. And obviously the Workmat company is your baby. Now that you and somebody else?
Rochelle, yeah. So, I was at Sparks by trade. Done that for a number of years. And then moved into a bit of plumbing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What made you do that?
If I'm being honest with you, I had a phone call from a friend of mine, and he was working at Pimlico Plumbers at the time. And he said, look, Rob, they're doing some big things over here. I've got a job. I'm general manager at the time, I think he was. And he said, I can get you a job. Some of the boys are earning some serious money. And obviously, being myself, I thought, well, I'll take the jump and have a look. So I went down for an interview, gave me the job straight away, and started on there. At the time, there wasn't a huge amount of electricians on board, so I benefited a lot from. There was a lot of jobs, and you could make a lot of money by soaking them up.
And I suppose you made money if you'd done the hours, though, right?
Yeah. So I mean, how it worked is you literally get up in the morning. There was a bit of a military. It was run very military. So you'd wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, sometimes earlier, depending on where you had to be. And if you didn't have a job booked in, you would have the office, so they had a control room, and the control room would be ringing you at sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Why's your van not on? Here's your first job details. Send you out to your first job. Get there, and to get the name of the game was really to get in there, show your professionalism, and sort of win some work, really. And
so you didn't get a certain amount of jobs a day. It was kind of
So they wanted to give you between sort of 1 and 3 jobs, and then they felt that with the leads that were coming through, 1 to 3 jobs was well enough to get yourself an all day, get booked out all day on a job. So you had to make the most of what you was given. Majority of the time, giving the right advice to the customer with their issue, they would.
And you were based probably more. So what my early days was like British Gas, and they were big on first time fix.
Yep.
So it sounds like you kind of were similar thing. You'd go to a job if it needed a part, you'd go and get it there, and then and maybe get it sorted there.
Yeah.
And then.
So the sort of clientele that they worked with were your top 0.1%, should we say, in the country.
Yeah.
They don't want to wait. They want to call you up. They want you there within the hour, sooner if possible.
It's reactive, right?
Reactive.
Yeah.
Get inside their property, set up, sheet up, protect their surfaces, and then.
So we need to stick to this point, because obviously that may be one of the reasons why what you're doing now is a lot of times with properties, if you don't sheet up or protect the areas, damage happens, right?
Yeah,
so some of the products you've brought here today, not only does it, I suppose, protect people's properties, but it actually protects people's bodies as well, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So with the actual sheets themselves of going into a property, it's like you've got a beautiful place here. You call, I don't know, a carpenter to come in and do some work in your house, and they turn up, they got muddy shoes on or some, terrible trainers or whatever.
Yeah.
They walk in the house. Some tradies don't take their shoes off, walk through the door, and leave footprints. You've got a nice floor. They've got stone in their shoe. It dents the floor.
Do you know what? I'll be honest. So we're talking about boots, right? I love Dr. Martin boots, right? And I bought these. I'll show you, look quickly, right? I bought these the other day. And
nice shoes.
Yeah, the stones though, they go in them.
Yeah.
So exactly that. You can go into someone's LVT flooring or laminate, and straight away you could just hear the scratch, can't you? You know.
Yeah. Well, you think even down to being a tradesman, if you've got a stone in your DM, all right, and you step on a nice timber floor, and you dent that floor, and you're charging whatever your day rate or you price the job, potentially you're down already because you're going to have to repair that damage. So, idea of these was that we was given these awful old dust sheets. You've probably seen them. Some of them aren't waterproof. They're not. They're just literally thrown down.
And you can trip. Not only can you trip over them, but the customer can trip over them.
Customer trips over them. The kids. Most customers got kids, dogs, whatever, animals, pets, and they walk through. They can be quite slippery on the actual on the timber floors, tiled floors. So I'm not saying I've ever seen an accident, but I'm sure things happen. Where
it happens for sure. So I know British Gas, they brought in rules that their toolboxes had to have black and yellow tape around it.
All right.
Because I think an elderly lady fell over, and also barriers. So when they're in a house, they made it like a mandatory thing that a lot of their engineers then had to like barricade themselves away. But obviously with bigger companies, I suppose they have to probably do things like that to make sure that there's, strict guidelines.
Health and safety now is just... I don't think everyone sticks to it, but most people stick to the guidelines.
Yeah, it's a hard one as well because it's different, like a domestic house, for let's say for a plumber or an electrician, and then a site for a plumber and electrician, they are different working areas. Yeah. Just like going back to like boots or work shoes. Like I know there's shoe covers now that are kind of like wetsuit material. That people.
Well, it's funny you say that. So the shoe covers you've seen, they're a brilliant design.
Yeah.
However, we've bought samples and things like that, and the sizes are always a little bit difficult to get right. And also they are a lot of money to buy. So, the average tradesman to go and spend, I don't know what they are, about £35 a pair of shoe covers. Yeah. A lot of the tradesmen, unless you take a lot of pride in what you do, which not all tradesmen do. I know there's a lot more now that do.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is because of social media, though, right?
It is.
Because people, I know it sounds silly, even workwear has gone massive now.
It's huge.
It's look good, feel good, isn't it?
It is look good, feel good, and I think that if you wake up in the morning and you've got to have the right routine anyway.
Yeah.
If you wake up, you do whatever you do in the morning first thing, and you put on something that's smart, tidy, and it's got your brand on it, and you're representing that brand, then you're gonna do a better job. I think.
I agree.
Your branding's like really, really, really good.
Do you know what the branding's a thing like that? We kind of originally we got it right and wrong, and I suppose if we're going to talk about a couple of companies, right, like Gas is the company name that everyone would know us for, but what happened then is everyone thought we only done gas, didn't know we'd done building, electrics, drainage, etc., etc., etc. So we had to rebrand, and it's actually like starting a whole new business because Rye is what a lot of people know us as, but then a lot of people also know us as Rye Gas or Rye Group, and I think like with setting up a brand again now, it's a hard one because you kind of, I suppose, want to call yourself a name that's relevant, but also then what happens is more, what's the word? Is more strings get added to your bow.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, for instance, like the work mat company is what I first seen you guys as, but I can already see there's more coming. Like so. For instance, like that is amazing.
But the funny story behind the coasters was that when we have a lot of wastage on the cuts. One of our things is about making sure that we're recycling properly. And there's things that people do really good and things that people do really bad still, and it's about doing the best you can with protecting the earth, etc. Yeah. So with
and protecting surfaces.
Protecting surfaces. So with the spares, we had them all cut into coaster sizes, and it's just a little gimmick for us to.
So this is brilliant. Like,
yeah, that's another thing is that
amazing.
We said, look,
you could do mouse mats. You can do these, couldn't you?
Well, this is the thing with the product. You can go down a rabbit hole, and you could, there is something we do have coming out. We haven't actually mentioned it, but I might just. So I'll bring it out today. So basically, for decorators, we speak to a lot of trades, and we try to work with them and bring them in and get their ideas, etc. And we get.
You do a lot of market research.
Loads of market research, but we get so many ideas pumped our way. Oh, you could do this and that, and we say, right, okay, we'll bring you in on the development of this product. So what we have got coming out is, and this isn't just for a tradesman. So let's say, for example, you're at home, you want to do a bit of decorating, because people still don't always get decorators in. They feel they can paint as well as a decorator, but they just can't, but they do it, yeah? So we brought out these mats from wastage of one of, or some of the material, and we do 3 different sizes of the 3 different paint pots, so 5 litre, 10 litre, 20 litre. So basically, they're a little bit bigger than the tub, and you can literally just put it onto the floor, and you've got a round, large coaster as such that you can just put the tin on, and it just protects the floor. And you haven't got sometimes you don't need to sheet up. You might be doing a bit of touch-up work, and you just put it on the floor. So that's just
are these like non-slip then?
Yeah. So I think. You would have seen maybe a few people demonstrating the non-slip. One being the Viking. I'm not sure. Have you had him on?
No.
Spoke to him, yeah. No, he's a really good guy, funny man, and he's did the what's the dance when they?
Oh yeah, do you know what I'm learning that?
Yeah,
it's that one, isn't it?
That's the one. Yeah,
I'm learning it.
I think I'd fall over if I tried it.
My boy started to do it. I'm learning it. Yeah,
but he did that. But
what's that dance called?
It's not a shuffle.
It seems like to me it was a couple of years ago it came out.
Yeah, it was. It's on Fortnite.
Ah, there you go. That's where everything starts now.
Yeah, crazy, man. Yeah. So I think your branding, it definitely like stands out. For instance, like the bee's knees. Like, so that's cool, right? Yeah.
Rochelle and I, we both think we've got a bit of marketing mind, etc. So it's all about, I suppose, a little bit of competitive between us. We're trying to find new names and this, etc. We was chatting one day and Rochelle went, because they're honeycomb knee pads. She thought B for honeycomb. Yeah. And she's gone, what about the bee's knees?
Yeah, it works.
I was like, what a name.
Yeah, it works.
Like,
it works, mate.
Simple but effective, right?
It works.
I was really interested, Rob, in your branding. I think it's fantastic. I think a lot of people in the trade are quite behind in branding. Is it Rochelle with branding experience? Have you got some, or is it just a natural instinct? Can you give anyone any tips on branding if people are starting their own companies, or have you got any pointers on that and how to stand out?
With branding, a lot of people sometimes, not everyone's creative minded, but I think if you just get a bit of paper and just write some ideas down, and you might have to go back and forward. But for example, a square mat, it's the same size width, same size within the height of it, etc. So you look at it and you think, well, what is it? It's a square. It's a square. So the square mat. It doesn't have to be complicated. We called that a square mat because it's a square. In regards to the actual logo itself and the branding, so the Workmat Co, we was coming up with lots of ideas, and
that's your website as well, isn't it? .co.
Yeah. So another thing is like with that's not something that we knew was going to do, but you go online and you've got to, like I said, rebranding, and you're looking at, you can have .com, .uk, or anything, and then you just look at it and look at the bit of paper you've written down on, and you go, the Workmat Co, and you go, well, I wonder if you can do .co.
Yeah, no, it's good. But when it works, I think there's a reason for it. I believe that sometimes if it all just fits into line, it's meant to happen.
It's almost like kind of a bit of trial and error, and just giving yourself time to have that creative time and time away from other things going on just to set yourself on it. You don't think you need a professional, etc. to start with. I'd agree with that as well. I think if you need to be in line with your brand that you're creating, if it's going to be yours, and then you can always develop it and maybe get, you know, opinions later on down the line.
And you can always shape it or tweak it, can't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, even down to colour, like black and white, like we said earlier, a lot of tradesmen like the black and white colour.
I said that earlier, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, right, so how can we work on that? Okay, so we've got black on the white. Do we go white with the black logo? No, white's not. We can offer white as an option maybe later on down the line, as well as many other colours.
Especially with the decorating thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
The decorators naturally always wear white trousers and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, they love it. So we went with the black with the white. The black with the white. But then it's like, okay, so the work mat covers as a writing. So we're looking at the different fonts. All right, if you notice the font, it is a little bit more rustic. So nothing's always perfect in a trade game. So I think that looks a lot more effective, have been like a bit worn out on it, because ultimately these are going to get. I mean, they're very sustainable.
I did
but
speak to Rochelle actually. Did you know I spoke to Rochelle?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she said maybe about us doing something with like orange and that, which is good. You can kind of, I suppose, tailor if you wanted to go with other companies.
Yeah.
You could tweak colours for certain
so
scenarios.
That's something that it's a massive, and again, another rabbit hole to go down. But so we've developed within the Workmat Co. Like a bespoke range that we can offer, and you can choose a colour, any colour you want, any logo. You can have it printed however you want, etc. But we've actually decided to keep it within the business, but just separate it a little bit, and we've come out with a name Tradesmarked. So it's Workmat Co. The Tradesmark under the Workmat Co. So that gives. So we're working on a website at the moment, so that at the moment, say for example, you've had them conversations with Rochelle. She's going to go back and forward, sending you different colour matches. You're going to there's a lot of admin, a lot of conversation between you both, which is good for relationship building. But you're a busy guy, so if we've got a section on the website where you just click on there and it's got a colour chart with maybe 100 colours, for example, or you can upload your own colour. You can upload your own colour, upload your logo, click on the mats that you want, and that can come through. And then we've got a system that will just generate the mock-ups, send them straight back to you for approval. In the meantime, the phone lines are open for a phone call, but that allows you to. A lot of people like taking things into their own hands, so we try to give people what they want, and that seems to be what they want. Yeah,
no, 100%. And I think like being able to buy from a website takes admin costs away.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
Yeah, and you know, back in the day, obviously, that was probably how things were done. Me and Sarah are looking a lot into AI at the moment, and it's very, very, very
mind blowing.
Yeah, it's a strange scenario because AI is going to take a lot of people who answer phones jobs away.
So your guys at the moment, when you're taking calls, they're on the phone taking the phone calls?
Yeah, or? We're quite an old school type business, I suppose. But again, I think old school necessarily isn't a bad thing either, because certain customers, they wouldn't want to speak to, let's say, it sounds really weird saying this, but some people want to speak to a robot.
No.
And a lot of people, I don't really buy stuff online. So going on from that then, so your current sales, is a majority of your sales from your own website, or are you in merchants and stuff yet? Or?
So we're in merchants, but majority of it is online. The merchants we're in, it's mainly down to, there's this thing they call it impressions, don't they? So you put a billboard up on the wall. You don't know if you sold anything from that billboard unless someone's pinpointed they bought because of that.
Yeah.
But they say, a sale, it takes like 6, 7, 8 points of contact before you buy. So what we find is from AI and systems like this, we can pinpoint what time these people are buying.
Yeah.
We can pinpoint what they're buying.
Yeah.
And we know everything about the online world. The way that we do it with the merchants is it's called you might have heard of it before, a vending machine sale. So basically, we'll stock out the shop, they'll pay for their stock and put it into a store, and then we will receive an email on a Friday with a tip box we've got, once again generated by AI, and it will say what they've sold that week. And then what we then do is we re-deliver the stock that they was out of stock on the Monday.
And then you can see as well the best-selling products, because you might see something that's been on the shelf for a long time and it's not kind of selling.
We know the products that sell the most, but they all do sell. The product
good.
I thought was going to sell the most, so we had these conversations prior on, was the nail pad, because to me they've got it's got the most amount of use for it. Anyone can use it. You know, your nan can be gardening; she could throw it down in there. It can be used.
Have you gone into garden centres or anything yet?
We've had so many discussions with so many different places, but at the moment our sole focus is our online sales.
The thing is with what you've got now is you take out, you know, even the work, you can put the kneeling mat, you know.
We've got there's so much legs room for it to.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree.
I think personally, everyone. So we do a bag, a holdall, and the holdall fits majority of these products in, and I like the majority of the products in. But in my head, every property in the UK should have a holdall bag in there under the stairs. So if that tradesman with the DMs and a stone in his shoe comes in, they can eliminate that straight away, even if the tradie hasn't thought of it.
Yeah,
And
100%.
So that's my vision, is that every household in the UK should have, I mean, in the world really, should have one of these if they're having tradesmen come in their house.
I mean, listen, like whenever I go out to like quotes and stuff, the amount of times people try and give me slippers.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I actually make you right.
And a
I think.
mask and a head.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously COVID was a strange.
We've still got there's still customers I've seen that.
So you could go into masks. So here's a scenario, right? So when did you guys start out the work mat company?
We started designing it over a year ago in regards to these, like our products. I know there's similar products on the market.
Yeah.
And there's been similar markets on the market.
A year,
for the
you've
last
done well in a
50
year then
years.
to get your branding out there.
Yeah, so we've only actually been going for 4 months now.
5 years ago, if you were where you are now and COVID hit, you would have been for business the right time, the right place. Because anyone that done like plastic or sold, you know, like the cleaning, disinfectant stuff, their businesses went sky high. Because probably you would have been able to go, well, all of this stuff here, we just make face masks.
Yeah, that's it.
And you would have been probably the face mask company for tradespeople.
Yeah, like I said, it can go. You can keep it as small as.
You never say never. That probably could quite easily come back.
Yeah,
Well,
but what I like to do, obviously, I said earlier in regards to your iPad, I've always got my iPad or whatever. So I take
notes.
Take notes all the time.
Yeah, man, it's important, mate.
I was just going to say, when you were talking about like every home having a bag with like the work mats in, it just like hit me, because obviously in our business we do so many estimates. They range from, or estimates and jobs, they range from small reactive jobs to like large installations and projects. And one of the biggest things you find is, generally speaking, everyone knows there's those tradesmen out there that are super diligent, they want to have their work mat, they're super conscientious, but there's also a lot of tradesmen that are just super unorganised, and unless you physically probably take it in for him, he forgets it all the time in the van. And one of the things that we offered at one point with our customers on large installations is, as an add-on to our estimates, it would be the option to install like sticky protection, you know, like to the floors and stuff. Because that way it was like an add-on to the estimate, but also then that engineer couldn't make an excuse that they forgot, because it was like physically part of their scope of works rather than it just being something they had to remember. So I just thought it would be amazing, like if we could offer like some sort of, I don't know, box or delivery that got sent to the customer's house before a project of your stuff.
And they can keep
maybe even returnable or keepable, and we could price that in, because a lot of these jobs are so, you know, they're thousands of pounds. So, you know, an extra, I don't know how much a box would be of all the essentials, but that could be, a really cool idea, because I think it's definitely needed.
Yeah, no, it's a really good idea.
Or if big companies or small companies, let's say you had four tradies, or you've got like 400 or whatnot, you could give them out to your staff as like not a hamper bag, but that's your, not PPE,
I feel
that's
like
your protective.
This sounds bad, but sometimes it's almost better putting it on the customer to do the job, because sometimes, you know, engineers, they forget, or they don't make onus on it. So like if you had a big job, you could be like, deliver it to the customer and it's an install price or something. It'd be pretty cool,
Yeah, because obviously if you know what customers, we're all customers in our own way, but and we'd probably be more on top of it than what they would. But if they've been physically sent something and they've paid that to protect their floor or their work surfaces or whatever, they're going to be, as soon as they walk in the door, your tradesman is going to be going, right, here you go, this has arrived. and it takes it away from
I
the
do
tradesman.
that a lot. Yeah, I do that a lot with customers. I put it on the customer to make the engineers do that.
Yeah.
Because it sometimes just prompts them. And I think some customers are like, they want they've got brand new cream carpets and, you've got to be super careful. You're draining down radiators or whatnot. And other customers don't really mind. But the fact that you would get that there and deliver it just shows the sort of level of workmanship that maybe is to come. Right? Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
I think these as well, they'll last longer than a standard dust sheet.
Well, this was one of our conversations. So these are really sustainable. Unless you're going to cut one up or slice it with a knife.
I was going to say, though, the good thing about these is if you did want to cut them around a radiator or anything like that, you could. Or I suppose you could even drill through like a 15mm hole. We've
had drawings and things done for radiator mats. There is something I'm not going to mention, but it will be released pretty soon.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic. But yeah, you can adapt them yourself as well. So I'm not saying, that you should have to go and cut them up, but you might go, do you know what? I need it for this space, so you can cut them, but they are sustainable. Which our return, like a lot of you listen to podcasts with companies, these large clothing brands, and I think a lot of the clothing brands, they work on the basis that their best customers are actually the ones that return stuff as well. So they're happy to send it out, let them try it on and send it back because they know they'll keep some.
Yeah.
With what we do, we haven't had much come back at all. Like if I'd say maybe none.
That means your price is correct then, I think, because I think a lot of the returns is when people feel like they've overpaid for something. And I know a lot with me, I'm awful at returns. So if I buy something from Amazon and it comes and I'm like, do you know what, I'll make use of it. It's normally because I think it value for money, which means I suppose the pricing's correct. So going to normal life now then, obviously a dad of 3 children, a tradesperson, and now, let's say, a business entrepreneur. What's a day-to-day like now then? 4 months in officially, are you on the tools? Are you flat out working on this business or...?
So it is flat out. I'm off the tools, but I listen to one of your podcasts and I like to get involved still. I'm a nightmare,
Yeah.
So what I do now is
Have you got a van at all?
I've got access to vans.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
But at the moment, we've just got the car because as soon as I put the van there, then I know that I'm going to be trying to throw a drill in it, go and fit a socket or a radiator or something.
How did you learn plumbing then? Are you self-taught or did you go to college?
That was at Pimlico.
So you just basically worked with plumbers and
I worked with plumbers there. I got taught everything. There was a couple of guys on there. I met a really good sort of group of people, and they was just so helpful with helping you understand the.
Because plumbing and electrics are kind of, I suppose, you isolate. You make sure everything's off, and then you can open up, right?
Yeah,
a lot of it's transferable skills.
Safe isolation.
Yeah.
So now I'm a business development manager for a company called Oracle Managed Services. So I work pretty much my own ship under Oracle, which it's been really good to me. So that's my 12 till 12 job. So it's full on all day, every day. There's a phone call. So
you've obviously got this, but currently you're working full time as well.
So I'm involved with a few different companies doing a few different bits, but ultimately, so with the facility management world, being business development manager, we go from supplying a mat to installing a new roof, and basically I'm overseeing the whole process of that. So that is what, and it's a 24-hour job really. Yeah. So I've always got a computer out. I'm always bouncing around London, or getting a train on the Great Western Rail.
Do you know,
no signal.
I love getting the train.
Yeah,
because I think you get loads done.
Well, you do if you've got signal.
Yeah,
but no. So I'm bouncing around all over the country, but in between now. So the mats we started with them at home. We've got a decent amount of space, but my wife is in charge of fulfilment. So you can imagine you've got 100 mats in your hallway, and she wants the boxes moved, and
Yeah.
I'm not moving the boxes.
Yeah.
So
You know what? I was saying this yesterday though. Living in the present's the best thing because, when you guys do go up to the next size, the good old days are right now.
yeah.
Well,
when we were talking coming over today, so we've taken on a premises local to us, about 5-10 minutes, and it's been a saviour really, because now we can keep it away from the home, because there's enough work going on at home anyway with what I do, etc., and then adding that into it. So although it was fun, though we don't have them testing moments now of whatever. So now like Louise can get up.
Go to work and leave work at work.
Yeah, she'll go to the office. Yeah. We needed to rack the room out. So I'm not one to really always try and think of how is there something we can get rather than paying full price, etc. Yeah. See what we can do. And it just so happened that the wife, Louise, she was shopping, and she was in House Fraser, and they was getting rid of all their racking. So it was old racking, etc. Really nice stuff. Yeah. And I got a phone call, a FaceTime video. Oh, you've got these on there. They're giving them away. They don't want much for them. So before you know it, I'll
be right there.
Yeah. Before you know it, I'm getting a van. We're driving down there. We give the guy some money for them and took them back and built them, and that's it. So
wicked.
Yeah. So we've got a premises now, which has made a massive difference to the business.
You've got some huge decisions coming up, because I think that time's money, right? So it's like where you spend your time, and it's probably one of my hardest decisions. Like where I don't even know what my job is. Like that's the thing. If someone says, "What do you do?" It's even now I'm like trying to figure it out in my head. But when you're running businesses or a business, delegation's the biggest. Yeah. I think the biggest skill to have. Know where to not get distracted and where to get the people. And I suppose with what you're doing now is obviously the next thing is staff coming on board, right? And obviously they're making sure you've got your... So I'm going to turn that off because that's going to keep on.
It's funny what you said there though, because as you're entrepreneurial, you've got your own business, and there's probably 5 businesses within that business now. Yeah. But it is a matter of having a box, in your office with a number of different hats, and every hour of the day you're going to pick that hat up and put that hat on.
Talking about hats, are you going to go into hats, do you reckon? You could be called the well, I suppose what would you call it? The work hat company?
Hat co. Yeah. No, we've these are it's more merchandise.
I've just put that on silent. Why is that keep going off? Sorry guys, let me turn this off. So you're 35 now.
Yep. So
when you left school, did you go straight into becoming a tradesperson?
No. So I didn't. A lot of people say, "Oh, I hate school." School was great. I played football throughout school. I played at a decent level. I left school to play football.
Who were you playing for when you were at school?
I was in the Millwall Academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where was your training ground?
Bromley. Okay. So we trained at Bromley. So day release and things like that was at Bromley.
How long were you at Millwall for?
Maybe 3.5 years.
Was Mickey Beard there when you...
What, as a coach or
Yeah, he was... Because I'd done a spell at Millwall as a youngster, but it was just the training was too hard to get to.
Yeah, because so the training in the week was up in Dulwich. But no, so we had Nicky Milo.
Okay. What position did you play?
Well, I went there as a forward.
So after school then, you didn't become a tradesperson. What was your journey after school then?
So left school, didn't really know what was going on with football. Went up to Cambridge United, signed a pro.
Oh wow!
At 16, it was horrific. I've got my own views on football, and I love football to bits. But there's no progression back then in regards to going from a 16-year-old kid to playing with men. Like it just wouldn't happen now. So I struggled big time with that, and fell out of love with it. And it was
football's cruel.
Yeah, I was literally sucked in and spat out within 4 years.
And you were probably living away from your family in Diggs, were you, at the time?
At Cambridge it was, yeah. That was quite tough, but I bet. Now looking back at it, you think, should have ate that up a bit more. But
well, they say in hindsight, right? But when you're 16, you're not really fully developed mentally and obviously physically. So then what was your first job then, was after football?
My uncle was an electrician, and he had his own electrical firm. He said, right, I'm going to get you a trade. You need a trade. So he actually co-wrote the 16th edition regs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of help in regards to knowledge and bits like that. So yeah, so he got me a job and an apprenticeship with JTL. So to be honest with you, JTL is
That's like site work, isn't it? JTL.
JTL is it's a board.
Yeah, like a body,
And they I'm not saying it's pretty much a guaranteed apprenticeship, but it was funded, so it was a bit like, you need to be passing these exams so that they get their funding, I'd imagine. Yeah, it took me a little bit longer to get through my apprenticeship, but I've done it in the end. And then it was on the road, and I went out quite early on my own.
What was your first van?
First one I purchased, or first
one you bought
the
yourself?
first van I purchased was a Citroen Berlingo.
The van's out.
Yeah, it was. I loved that van. Like, it was, your first one. You actually buy it and you think, yeah, this is nice. This. Yeah. But I had loads. Like, I was obviously, companies gave me vans over the years. I had Fiestas with silly flashing lights on top and all the rest. But yeah.
That's good.
Obviously, our podcast is about gains, so how people can level up their lives, how they make improvements, whether personally or in business, and eventually we want to be able to kind of share our knowledge and the knowledge we've learned from others around us in terms of self-development and business tools. Can you give the audience any tips on how you have managed to create something that was just an idea at one stage that's now a reality? And is there any kind of key qualities about you that you think's made you be able to do that? Like one particular quality, or any kind of self-development tools like goal tracking or anything like that might be able to help people?
For me, the only thing I can say to anybody is just start. Like, if you've got an idea, right, don't hold it off, just start. And then it starts from there. And then it's amazing by just starting what opens up. You start something, then it comes to conversation, then you get a routine. So starting something is important, and get yourself, whatever that routine is, even if not everyone has to get up at 5 a.m. Not everybody has to go to bed at 3 a.m. and have 3 hours sleep and think that's the way to succeed in. But if you get a routine that fits your life and you just start something, you'll be amazed at what happens.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just to take a step in the right direction, or just take a leap of faith in yourself.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. You can
Something doesn't work, and you have another idea. Start again.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really good advice, because the hardest thing people find is getting from idea phase into reality, and I think it's because they make the dream almost too big.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to start with small steps and feel like that's an achievement, rather than feeling like you're not where you want to be. Yeah. So yeah, I think
and also talk. Not enough people talk. It's amazing by just going into a coffee shop, and ordering your coffee, and rather being on your phone, all right, or doing something not productive, is just say to that person behind, "How's your day going?"
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, it's going really well, actually.
England are notorious for that, though. Go to Ireland or America, everyone says hello to each other.
Yeah.
I heard one of a top-end entrepreneur say that if he had £100, he would spend it a month, and how would he develop a business? He'd spend it taking someone out to dinner.
That's it.
Just someone that he knew around him. No one that was unachievable or like a celebrity, but someone around him that he thought was one step ahead of him. He'd take them out to dinner and basically chew their ear off. So I think I think it's important.
My best clients that I work with now in the facility world, there's not really much work spoken about. It's just new people I meet. Networking, yeah. And networking is really important, but the right networking, So for me, networking isn't going to an event and standing up and telling you what you do. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. That's definitely something every business should have. But for me, networking is, maybe I'm walking down the street and in London, and you see someone or you hear someone talk. I'll give you an example. I was on a train back on the Great Western train with no signal, and
you don't get Wi-Fi on that train.
Oh, it's awful, honestly. I'm sitting there for 3 hours. This lady sits down next to me. She was quite vocal with talking about she's an investor and she wants to invest some money and this and that to get on this new investment board or something along the lines of that. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, we're always looking for investment opportunities, and there's things that we can offer, not just in the work world, but all over. And I was just like, right, hello, just started chatting with
Pitched
her.
her there and then.
Thing is, a lot of this talks for itself. So, for example, I got one of the coasters out and my business card, which is made out of the mat. I said, look, this is me. This is what we do. We're always looking for investment for growth in the company. It's not always about the money. It's like opening doors. And she was sort of pretty much taken back, like, love it. Took the card. And then me being me, she was sitting on her computer and I got her name, so straight onto LinkedIn, added her on LinkedIn. And she actually put a post up online saying, on the train today, need to see more of this guy, blah, 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 and just explain what I just told you. And that now, we've actually got a relationship now where we are in contact, nothing's developed yet, but she's going to be introducing us to people that she knows. So it might not be for her at this moment in time, but that for me is networking. For me.
Yeah, and also the way you make your own luck. Like obviously you open that door, that was right in front of you, and opportunities are everywhere. Like you say, you've just got to go for it.
Just start.
Yeah.
I think that's like a big point that differentiates people. Like you're like that, aren't you? You talk to anyone basically. Ryan will go into the toilet and be, where's he gone? He's met someone over the urinals. I'm like,
Yeah, but I've done so much business that way.
That's what I'm saying. That's your best networking.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I think that's really, really good advice. And I think conversation, you can learn so much from others. In terms of another thing that I'm really intrigued to ask you, product development is a whole different ballgame, isn't it, in business? Like obviously, you're a business development manager, and when you're a service business, it's very different to being in like the product or supply business. Can you give anyone any tips, anyone thinking of starting any products on how to find a good supplier?
It's a good question. Ultimately, it all comes down to price. My goal is to develop this in the UK. At the moment, it comes from outside the UK. We get huge shipping costs.
That's all because of like Brexit, right? It's probably cheaper then.
Brexit and the way that it comes over. And so basically, we want to make this affordable, sustainable for the customer. So things like the square mat isn't quite a metre. Yeah. So by reducing those sizes, we're able to get more mats made out of the material. There's different packaging it comes under as well, so we keep the cost down. There's so much that goes into it.
That's make you being efficient, isn't it?
Yeah, you have
wastage.
To be. Yeah. But going back to your question, finding a good supplier, you have to build a relationship. Chances are, if you're the sort of person that's thinking about getting a product out into the market, you've probably got some decent people around you who have done maybe similar before. They're not always going to give you their suppliers or their answers, and depending on the product, it is very dependent on what information you're going to get. But as much as, I don't know what people's view on it, but you can go on, there's online sites where you can buy something, okay, get that product, and then you can just reach out to, for example, Alibaba. If you look beyond what it is, so you go onto Alibaba, you could buy a hat, a book, whatever, yeah? But behind buying that is also access, it's a little secret, is there's access to the factories, okay? So when you go on there, you can filter and you can go, right, I want to buy from China. I don't want to buy from China. I want to buy from Russia. I want to buy from Italy. I want to buy from France, or I want to buy from England. You can filter that out of where you want to buy from. Filter that out, and then you'll get a list of products from them. But most of that stuff's coming from a factory. And all you do is reach out to them and say, I want to buy some samples or whatever. And then you start a conversation, because these factories have all got salespeople in there. So as soon as you make contact with them, it's like, how many do you want? We can make you 2 million products if you want it. And then
negotiating the price.
And then, okay, well, we like your products, I've seen it, but we want to develop that and we want to add this to it. We want to make it a bit thicker, for example, with this. We want to, have you got any water there?
Yes.
So if you pour,
I was going to say, are you thirsty?
No. If you pour something on this,
Be in?
yeah.
Wow.
So
That's cool, man.
the original mat that we had wasn't waterproof.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Now,
My kids,
What happens?
yeah. Come and have a
it
look.
just sits.
So my children would love to play with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
There
mean?
you go. Another avenue.
You'd be called the baby mat company.
Yeah, that's it.
Here, Joe, look at this.
So,
So now have a look at when it actually. That's cool, isn't it?
the
Kids would
original
love that,
one
wouldn't
we
they?
purchased
That's really good.
it wasn't It didn't do that. And we're like, well, it's waterproof in the fact that if it goes on it, it doesn't go through to the floor. It just sits in it.
And it gives you time then to probably be able to dry it up without the spillage.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can hoover that off. So the idea was that, okay, so what material? So we get these different materials come back and forward, and we finally found, okay, that's the material.
That's really good, man. I'm
we want
impressed with
that printed
man.
on top of the mat. But that come from just going back to it, starting the conversation of anything.
Yeah.
Just
I
start.
think that's really good advice
That would
supplier-wise.
make a really nice photo. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Like,
You've got
really
some
cool,
decent
man.
cameras here.
I think that's really good advice supplier-wise, and I think it's a shame because a lot of people want to make products in the UK. It's a shame we can't afford to do that and support our own economy. So maybe if anyone's listening, someone might know someone having this conversation that has a UK supplier that can make the work
So
mats
many
for you.
people have wanted to do that recently as well.
Yeah,
Like,
so
you
many
know,
people want to make the products
everyone
in the
wants
UK.
like Britain to start building again.
Yeah,
Back in the day, there was loads built here or manufactured
I think it
here.
will. Like I said, it all comes down to costing. But for example, like the machine that you need to do this, the only machine, there's none in the country. There was one in France, and the factory shut down. No one knows what happened to the machine. So, let's say, for example, we grow and expand, and we buy that machine.
Yeah.
Then anyone who needs to, put something onto a surface, then potentially we've got the machine in the UK. Because from what I know, there isn't many machines that do this in the whole of the world. So
There might be a lot of other businesses as well, like that might see this, and then, God, you know what? I've been waiting for someone like him to be able to launch like their product. And the podcast currently is TradeGains and personal gains, right? Trade naturally being trade related, personal gains being more personal. You're pretty much a perfect fit for both, right? The actual podcast or training courses and business courses that we're going to end up doing is more focused on just gains itself. So i.e. what's your gain plan, a bit like game plan,
like
but
that.
with obviously with a gain. For this year, what's your game plan?
So with the Workmat Co, like I said, there's a lot going on with new products, which is great. We've secured more shipment, which is brilliant. But our main focus the last 2 months was getting this product into Ireland. With Ireland, not a lot of people know this, but they do have issues with buying. They have to pay import duty and large shipping costs. So for somebody
In Republic of Ireland,
in
Northern Ireland.
essentially, so we'll be based in Dublin.
Okay,
So we've secured the deal in Ireland,
amazing.
and we've now got shipment heading over to them, so that we can give them this product, and they haven't got to pay these silly import duties and the shipping costs. So Ireland's one of the big things with the Workmat Co, which we are hitting up, developing more products, like I said, and more things like see the bit there, that bit of cardboard.
Yeah.
Is like, for example, that comes on this, but the other side of it,
Use it.
reuse,
Yeah.
become a little bit more.
And I know
Reusable.
tradies will actually use.
You know what it's
that.
like. You need
a lot of them might even save them. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah.
So become a little
That's
bit more eco.
Do you know what? Can I say something?
Yeah.
Right. Going back to what you said earlier on about like writing stuff down, I don't know how hard it would be, but like this is amazing. That you could actually start putting things on there like materials list, to-do list, and other things that you
things
have to get
different,
done, because you've got so much space there. And I think a lot of people nowadays, especially with like trying to upskill or trying to, gain something new, I want to say that recently I've seen a lot of people do like gratitude lists.
Yeah.
Like, what am I grateful for? Blah, 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 blah. What's been good today? And that will then
Add that in.
uplift people,
Yeah, because you could go down, the whole mental health route with that, and I think everybody, doesn't matter who you are, everyone suffers with some kind of mental
100%,
health,
yeah.
and everyone deals with problems very differently.
Yeah.
For myself, I personally, I take a lot on, but that's out of my own well-doing, and
some people thrive under pressure, right?
I love it.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing is about, right? So diamonds, are formed under pressure.
Yeah.
Like listen, I'm the same as you, mate. Like the more I get on, it actually puts more fire in my belly.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, the less I've got on, I'm like, but I
I
suppose,
remember that.
you know, say that again?
I remember that.
Yeah, the thing is with business, it's like famine and feast, isn't it?
It is,
So I'd
yeah.
rather be busy than not be busy, you know?
That's it. Yeah, so that's what looking at this year, like personally for myself, like you said there, to-do lists, yeah. So I have like lots of to-do lists. For me, I think what I want to do this year is really sort of double down and focus on sort of sectioning off different areas of my life. So for example, this is no longer at home. All right, that's one work bit out of the house.
Amazing.
So when we go home, you know, I heard something the other day, and someone said that they got some app something that cuts the Wi-Fi off at 10 o'clock, so that you can go to bed at 10 o'clock rather than, you know,
Cut the Wi-Fi, did you say?
cuts the Wi-Fi.
I thought you said cut the Wi-Fi. No. I'm going, no, let me know that app, please.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't clear enough then.
So there was an app where you can cut your
There's
Wi-Fi off.
something where it cuts your Wi-Fi off, yeah, and there's a few of them out there, I think.
Yeah.
But no, like for example, just prioritise our. So for example, go home. One big thing for me is sitting at home and having dinner with the family.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
that doesn't happen every day. Like my boy plays football. My daughters have got clubs. They're seeing their friends. But if we can get out of 7 days a week, 2 or 3 days where we all sit down and have dinner,
Yeah.
which we do anyway, but
Yeah.
just make that a little bit more. And it's just little small steps like that. So
No,
we sit
yeah,
down and
that's
have dinner.
amazing. Well, family time's family time. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's it.
Book it in, right? That's good.
And I mean, I've got an office indoors, and it's lovely, but it's like you're walking through the hallway and there's an office there, and you know there's always something to do. So even with that, now I tend to do a lot of work outside outside the home. So prioritising time a little bit more.
Sarah made me get rid of my office in the house, and it in a
It
way,
wasn't an office in the house. It was in every area of my house.
yeah.
So that's
But
why.
the thing is though, like at whatever time I fancy just quickly getting in front of the game, I would do it. But now I think obviously it's something you adapt to. But I think with taking your work life away from your personal life, it is a good thing, because then when you go into work, you can just go beast mode.
Yeah.
And you know you've only got a certain amount of time. And I think with being a father or a mother, you're time sensitive, because you know you're juggling a certain amount.
All they
of
want, they just
things.
want you there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we go away a lot, so we get a lot of time together when we're away. But even that, over the last couple of years, has been like, you know, we was away at Christmas, and I'm doing calls over the Christmas break. But I've got to do them. So then it's like, right, okay, let's relap and prioritise what time of the day I'm going to do that. So, so that's it.
I sometimes think it's easier to just go to standby mode than switch off, though.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes you're better off just to go and get the calls done than have that fester over you of, like, I've got to make a load of calls. The quicker you get it done, the better, you know? So, Robert, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, your name's a cool name, right? Like, I feel like there's a nickname here. So, Robert Dabner, have you got a nickname for your surname? Because Dab is a big...
So Dabner, that has been sort of what I've been called over the years, Dabbers. So it depends who it is. And then, funny enough, there was an idiot apprentice, and every time I saw him, he used to do the dab thing, and I was like, "You're going to get chinned if you don't do that there." So
what is this again?
I'd never seen it before, and this idiot every day that I saw him, it was just doing this. I was like, "Mate, you just need to stop it."
Yeah. That's
But
a good name.
It's funny, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it
So
is.
no sound, just
Well, if obviously
yeah.
if you've got another date in your diary, it'd be definitely good to catch up again.
Yeah, no,
and even if it's
good.
not on a podcast, it'd be good to go out and have a bit of dinner with you guys.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
So thank you very much for tuning in to the Game Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and keep up to date with our daily activity on social media. And soon we will be releasing the first entry for people for training courses. Obviously, even myself and you speaking, I've learned things today like Alibaba, and then you can get into, you know, the factories and stuff. So it's for things like that, which is exactly why the guests we're inviting on is to share their knowledge. And, you know, the more people that join the club, the more we'll all learn and earn, hopefully, you know. So thank you very much. Au revoir.